Music. Allow me to share an odd truth about quietness in our online era. We're surrounded by a society that broadcasts nearly every detail: celebrations, daily brews, evening skies, sorrows, joy, even struggles polished with effects. Still, certain individuals remain utterly hidden. They browse in silence, absorb intently, yet seldom, if at all, contribute their own content. You could be acquainted with such a person. Perhaps that's you. And the puzzle that haunts many thoughts persists. What prompts this? Why opt for obscurity amid a clamor for notice everywhere? It's tempting to label non-posters as merely reserved or withdrawn. However, that misses the deeper layers. Underneath lies a rich mental dynamic, one revealing much about our essence, how we view ourselves, and a subtle defiance toward a society fixated on being seen. Music. For certain folks, quiet isn't void, it's mastery. It's the authority to decide what stays concealed from view. After all, regardless of our admissions, platforms have quietly altered our self-concepts. They celebrate showmanship, they applaud clamor. Meanwhile, shadow dwellers frequently gain the sharpest insights. They observe sans disruption, they reflect prior to responding, they evaluate before concluding. Experts in the mind have uncovered an intriguing pattern. Those who hold back from frequent sharing typically excel in qualities such as self-discipline, self-examination, and emotional autonomy. They're less swayed by peer contrasts or outside approval. Put differently, they're not seeking to demonstrate their identity. They're seeking to grasp it. In an environment flooded with acts, such traits stand out. Truthfully, much of our online sharing goes beyond mere exchange. It's building a persona. It's an instinctive bid for acceptance. Each description, image, or update whispers, or quote Doru. Yet, ceasing to share brings a transformation. Your value untethers from virtual cheers. You cease framing life in snippets. You resume savoring experiences purely, unmediated by screens. That's the hidden mental drive for many silent users. They yearn for genuineness amid contrived spaces. They aren't against tech or isolation. They simply can't locate their true selves there now. It's less about rejecting connection and more about avoiding life's reduction to curated clips. Once aware of how perceptions twist so readily, you cherish the unshareable. Stillness, profundity, flaws, honesty. For others, halting posts follows an inner exhaustion. They might have broadcasted freely until it lost authenticity. They saw that each lovely reveal brought unseen demands to top it next time. Existence turned to theater. Thus, they faded out gently. No fanfare, merely a gradual vanishing from streams. Yet a common misconception arises here. Withholding doesn't imply numbness, nor indifference. Frequently, it signals deep investment in essence, significance, safeguarding the profound. Mind science terms this, quote, quantukin. That profound attachment to an idea, recollection, or event as inherently yours. Sharing dilutes it slightly. The instance turns communal, vulnerable to critique, distortion, ridicule. Thus, non-sharers often shield their claim on existence. They preserve encounters as inviolate, personal, unspoiled. And perhaps that's no sorrow or retreat. Perhaps it's a serene liberty. Consider, when did you last pursue something significant without the impulse to broadcast? When did you last chuckle, weep, or succeed without instantly plotting an online reveal? That impulse, that drive to exhibit, isn't innate. It's learned, a result of years of approvals, reposts, and reward cycles, wiring our minds to link affirmation with importance. Breaking free feels defiant, yet it's restorative too. They reclaim the ease of personal pursuits, preparing meals sans snapshots, journeying sans labels, sensing sans narration. There, a clarity emerges, a self-knowledge independent of spectators. Still, not all silent ones stem from calm. Some stem from dread of critique, dismissal, or distortion. Online worlds heighten a quiet stress experts dub self-display strain, that perpetual sense of scrutiny even in solitude. For numerous, it's draining. They fret their words could twist or, worse, go unnoticed. Thus, they withdraw, not from disinterest, The reason folks hold back from sharing online isn't a lack of interest in linking up. It's that the price of being noticed seems overwhelming. They crave genuine recognition, not just surface-level glances. And here's the twist. The most reserved voices in digital spaces often harbor the most vibrant inner monologues. They're far from withdrawn. They're brimming over. They opt for calm over showmanship. That quietness carries a profound philosophical layer. In an era screaming, "Watch me," embracing obscurity turns into a statement of self-assertion. It's declaring, quote, for. They might browse through others' updates, agreeing, grinning, or even yearning at times, but they seldom broadcast their own world because they grasp a truth many overlook. Not every moment you go through demands an audience. The deepest aspects of existence, like personal development, sorrow, or change, occur in solitude, hidden away, without any public display. After navigating plenty of those hidden shifts, you come to see that staying out of sight doesn't equate to lacking value. In fact, that's precisely where true selfhood emerges, rather than being staged. Here's the core contradiction. Platforms meant to bridge us frequently amplify our sense of loneliness. By skipping the posts, you quit pursuing virtual bonds and focus on forging authentic ones. You notice who reaches out without prompts. You discover who holds you in mind absent any cues. Those ties, unfiltered, private, carry more weight, more warmth, and a truer essence. The non-posters dwell in that realm. They nurture connections that require no evidence. They draw solace from moments kept close, allowing existence to evolve naturally, untouched by the urge to package it as fodder. This ties into a sense of self-assurance, too. Feeling secure in your identity, even sans observers. When solitude suits you, external cheers aren't needed to affirm your value. That's not hubris, it's tranquility. And curiously, those who skip sharing tend to possess the richest tales. Yet they reserve them for face-to-face exchanges, not remote pixels. For them, authentic bonds aren't tallied by reactions or endorsements. They're found in mutual quiet, in direct gazes, in chuckles that thrive without bystanders. These individuals hold entire universes inside, reflecting intensely, watching keenly, and comprehending softly. They require no global acclaim to affirm their presence. They simply inhabit it. Perhaps in a society frantic for visibility, their reticence isn't a shortcoming. It's a reflection, a nudge that not all that matters needs airing. That occasionally, the purest human act is hoarding a piece solely for yourself. What's intriguing is how prolonged detachment from social networks reshapes your view of everything. Hues appear more vivid, moments stretch out, exchanges gain depth. Detaching from the clamor restores a sense of authenticity. Cease the act, and you reclaim pure immersion. There's an understated elegance in navigating days without documenting each stride. No fretting over perspectives, illumination, or taglines. You're simply present, vibrantly engaged, enveloped in the now rather than framing it from afar. Social feeds seldom grant us that luxury these days, but the mental mechanics run even further, beyond mere choice or inclination. It stems from our neural wiring around affirmation. Each upload that draws engagement, thumbs up, replies, emojis, triggers dopamine, the neurotransmitter tied to pleasure and habit formation. Gradually, we hunger for that affirmation. We frame our days around post-worthy snippets over genuine encounters. Picture resisting that pattern. Envision opting out of the reward spiral on purpose. That's no apathy, it's restraint. It demands insight to defy a system built to ensnare. Non-posters typically boast a robust inner-driven mindset, a concept from psychology denoting that fulfillment and self-regard arise internally, independent of outside nods. They don't rely on online echoes of, "you're worthy," to internalize it. Even better, research indicates that extended pauses from creating or scrolling through social content yield tangible boosts in mood steadiness and overall contentment. Without your self-image perpetually reflected externally, it gains firmness, it turns tangible. No more curating life into bite-sized portions. You embrace its raw, stunning, unaltered layers. And perhaps that's the true defiance, remaining intact amid a culture that prizes snippets. Still, online quietude doesn't always signal calm. At times, it masks weariness. For plenty, these networks started as hubs for bonding but morphed into energy sinks. A creeping mental tiredness arises from eyeing others' polished summaries while you're laboring to assemble your own. You can't help but peek into others' private lives online. Before long, you're drawing comparisons without intending to. You're doubting your own value, even though deep down you recognize it's unfounded. In time, certain individuals choose to pull back, not from resentment, but to safeguard their well-being. They come to see that they aren't obligated to put on a show for everyone. They don't have to justify their reticence, and they certainly don't need to keep demonstrating their joy just to gain credibility. This represents a subtle reality for our era. We've muddled exposure with importance. We believe that to count, we must draw eyes, yet true significance thrives without observers. Many of the pivotal experiences that mold your character unfold entirely on your own. No onlookers, no recordings, no commentary, just you existing in the moment. Perhaps those who refrain from sharing grasp this essence most clearly. They understand that solitude isn't isolation. It's a deep connection to your inner self. When you cease airing every idea, you begin to tune into your own voice once more. You rediscover the aspects of yourself buried under the clamor. Those subtle yearnings, the fears you keep to yourself, the guidance from within. In our hyper-connected age, this feels like a deeply soulful act. It's not retreat, it's a return to roots. Admittedly, the journey isn't always serene. Doubts creep in, making you wonder if staying silent renders you overlooked, or if you're lagging as others showcase their advancements. But gradually, a striking insight emerges. Your inherent value persists even without an audience. It endures, unwavering, much like the gentle resonance in a hushed space following turmoil. And perhaps that's the essence of genuine self-assurance. Not the bold proclamations splashed across digital spaces, but the steady certainty found away from screens. Folks might quip, if it wasn't shared, did it truly occur? Yet the reality is, the experiences that transform you deepest seldom surface in timelines. Your personal evolution, your sorrows, your unseen triumphs, your subtle gestures of compassion, they reside in recollection, not in posts. And that might suffice. When experts in psychology discuss genuine self-disclosure, they highlight harmony, the match between your true interior and your public persona. But amid endless edits and enhancements, that harmony warps repeatedly. You end up embodying an edited self designed for likes. Thus, opting out of sharing could be someone's method of upholding that harmony, of nurturing the delicate authenticity, linking their private thoughts to their visible life. They don't require universal validation to affirm their emotions' legitimacy. They don't need to document every twilight to hold on to its impact. They embrace existence wholly, in hushed tones. And here's the irony. Those embracing quietude often sense life with the greatest fervor. Unburdened by the need to stage it, they savor nuances that escape the hurried. The shifting play of shadows on a surface, the brief hush before words form, the echo of far-off chuckles. They inhabit the now fully, and true attentiveness stands as the scarcest treasure in an attention-driven realm. Still, that attentiveness can lead to misconceptions. Others may view them as aloof, enigmatic, or even aloof, but peer beneath the surface, and their quietude reveals not void, but richness. It's the tranquility born from no longer requiring justifications to feel seen. A subtle poise arises from not craving universal recognition, but cherishing insight from a select circle. And that's the wisdom those who skip posting embody most. They recognize that not all realities suit mass consumption. Certain facets of your being merit shielding from data streams and critiques. For once shared, it ceases to be solely yours. It invites scrutiny, verdicts, fleeting fads. And perhaps some instances are too hallowed for such exposure. So when you spot someone who rarely shares, resist the urge to think they're concealing. They might simply be immersed in living. They could have uncovered serenity in life's understated realms, far from the screen's eerie light. They may be the ones reclaiming what we've overlooked. That invisibility doesn't equate to solitude. That restraint doesn't imply barrenness, that at times the most honest portrayal of your essence is wordless pause. Ultimately, we're not scripted acts, we're simply human. And those who forgo the posts? They gently nudge us toward remembering that truth in their unadorned, profoundly unseen way.